We've been joined by Chukwudi Utazi. He is a development worker in Enugu. Good morning, Chukwudi. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Uche. Thank you for having me.
All right. The sit-at-home order has, stayed with the Southeast for a couple of years now, a little over 3 years. But the one that I would say is about to break the camel's back is the 1 week sit-at-home that was declared recently, and we hear of talks of how Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu has put out some modalities and is in talks with a couple of players who are in position to have these conversations with him about how to end the sit-at-home order. But first of all, give us an overview of what the compliance has been like in the states around the coal city, and of course what it's like in Enugu particularly.
Okay, so just like you rightly mentioned, the sit-at-home thing started sometime in 2021, and it first of all started as just to show solidarity to Nnamdi Kanu when he's going to court. But from there we graduated into having it every Monday, and then we also moved from that to even having it on random days, days when these guys feel like they just ask everybody to sit at home and all that. But there's this point I want to make. So the compliance order with the sit at home is, first of all, the sit at home is, when it started, people were actually okay with it. They saw reasons with the IPOB. They were like, okay, I think these guys have a good cause, so let's just support them however we can. And then it was just on days when Mazin Nnamdi Kanu was to appear in court. It didn't come up every week or every other week, So, but these days, people have been forced to comply. So people are less apologetic of the IPOB and the sit-at-home thing that happens, often and on. So people are no longer interested in sitting at home, but they're actually forced to sit at home. Uh-huh. So when there's a sit at home order, and I dare say even the weekly sit at home, the Monday sit at home order that have lasted for quite some time. So people don't just sit at home willingly anymore. They sit at home out of fear. And, when fear sets in, it affects a lot of people because, people are scared for their lives, for their properties and all that. So nobody wants to actually violate the order so as not to get maybe killed or injured or something like that. So there's actually a huge level of compliance. But the point is, compliance is not, is not something that people are doing voluntarily.
That conversation about compliance came up because, Governor Mbah has been in the news a lot, talking about how to end the sit-at-home situation for good. He has reached out to President Bola Tinubu a couple of times to that regard. And recently, there has been a whole week of sit-at-home declared in the East. We've read in the papers how that the governor has come out himself. We saw videos of him as well, moving around and encouraging people to come out. We've also heard that there's been, military presence in the states. Has that affected compliance? Do you see a difference in, the movement around the cities?
Well, yes, it actually has. Personally, I must commend the governor for, taking the lead on that. Because just like I was, saying earlier, Enugu is actually the worst hit when it comes to the whole sit-at-home thing. Because Enugu, whenever there's a sit-at-home, Enugu is like a ghost town, and I'm not just talking about the metropolis, but even other parts of the hinterlands. So the governor has been making a lot of efforts. Even 2 days ago or 3 days ago, on Monday this week, he was out there at the markets, at the banks, at the malls, trying to encourage citizens to come out and have their day as usual, ensuring security and all that. So I think going forward, because this is something that has been happening over the years, so we don't expect it to end in a week or two. But as time goes on, I think more people would be convinced to come out and maybe have their day as usual. So I think what the governor is doing is commendable. He's leading from the front, and I think that's what citizens need to see. So I really commend the governor for what he's doing. He should keep at it, and also, most importantly, ensure that there's security, because just like I said, people are scared. So if you assure them of their safety, safety of their lives and property, everybody wants to make money and go about their normal businesses. So I think what the governor is doing is quite commendable, and if it continues, I think some more people will be convinced to come out, and we might just have our Mondays back as usual.
All right, Mr. Chukwudi, quite commendable, especially with regards to. Can you hear me, Mr. Chukwudi?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, so quite commendable, I said, as regards the action the governor is taking, especially with regards to assuring people or confirming that people can actually be safe when they have their day moving around the city of Enugu and, of course, other states. Now, my question to you would be in two ways, because it's quite worrisome at every given time. This is a conflict situation, more like agitators reacting to certain issues, and it's not war. Now, why should we always have military intervention in such cases? That's one. Number two, how much of this military presence have been deployed to this effect?
Okay, so I really understand the concern of having having the military flying around, because that's what we see on some days. We see helicopters flying around. Sometimes at almost very low altitude, it scares some people, right?
Yeah.
So I understand that we are not in a war situation, but what they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. So I guess that is the reason why the government have deemed it fit to employ more stringent measures to ensure that people are secure. Okay, so they don't want to just leave it in the hands of maybe the police or the NSCDC or other security agencies. They want to actually take it up a notch just to ensure people that they are safe and they can come out and have their businesses as usual. To your second question about the how much of these guys have actually been deployed. So Enugu, for instance, Enugu has a whole military base. The 82 division of the Nigerian Army, is headquartered here in Enugu, and that says a lot. Okay, that says a lot. We also have other the Air Force people are also here and all that. So Enugu is actually we have a lot of military presence here, especially in the metropolis. Here. What I don't really know is whether these people are. Because I move around on some Mondays. I actually move around, and I'll tell you, I don't really see soldiers on the road. I might see policemen, here, there, and there, and but soldiers, mounting roadblocks. I think the time when we saw that was last week during the recently concluded 1 week sit at home. On a particular day, it got so scary because we were hearing gunshots here and there, especially in a place that was supposed to be the most secure place in the city. I'm talking about GRA, where we have a lot of government offices. In fact, the Central Bank of Nigeria Enugu branch is actually located along that axis, and we're hearing a lot of we're having a lot of security issues there. So the army was deployed immediately there, and also in some other parts of the city. But when the situation is not really there like that, when we don't really have the need to, I don't think the soldiers are everywhere, making people feel tense and all that. But I think that their deployment is necessary when it is, because just like I mentioned earlier, desperate time actually call for desperate measures, and people really want to feel safe. If you ask anybody on the street, any random person, why are you not coming out on Mondays? The person will not tell you, it's because I'm supporting the IPOB or non-government or whatever. They will tell you that I'm scared. I don't want to die. So if you can assure the person, if you can convince the person that you'd be safe if you come out, then the person will come out. Because when we stay at home, the economic implication of the sit at home is a whole topic for another day.
That was going to inform the next question actually, Chukwudi, because the sit at home has been with southeasterners, especially Enugu, who's been the worst hit since 2021, the second half of 2021 till date. And I'm sure that would have had a lot of negative consequences on the economy of that region. Can you take us through those consequences?
Yes, so obviously, just like I mentioned before, the economic implication is actually unprecedented